Welcome back, everyone, to Tarot and the Moons. My name is Ingrid. Let's get started. On April 1st, 2026, we have a full moon, which is really an optimal time for us to wrap things up, complete something that you've been working on, or release something that's no longer of service. For me, the full moon, or actually the moon, represents our collective power through emotions. It is really our responsibility to look up at the skies, to look up at the universe, and engage the moon in a way that helps us regulate our emotions. If you've noticed, there's been a lot of activity going on about going to the moon. I remember a couple of years ago, there was this Artemis project that a female goddess archetype, and it was called Artemis going to the moon. And for a long time, I was like, what in God's name are they doing? This is way before I started to even engage with the Tarot and the Moon's offerings here. So pay attention to NASA, pay attention to the scientific community, because they're poking up there again. I've always believed that there have been bases up there already. I just don't think that we've been privy to a lot of what's going on. However, I believe really strongly in the planetary engagement having their own autonomous power. The same as Earth, right? When people are always like, oh, we have to work on the environment. Yes, we do. We can't destroy her. But if we're out of the picture like we were back in 2020, the Earth regenerates her own energy. And so the moon has her own energy. And she very much is part of our daily activities, especially through this power center that we call our emotions. So on April 1st, 2026, according to Vedic astrologers, this full moon is actually in the constellation of Virgo. And according to tropical or Western astrologers, this full moon is in the constellation of Libra. And for me, both are relevant because emotions are never stationary. They actually fluctuate even from one moment to another. So our collective and our individual engagement with this particular full moon is going to be fluctuating between the characteristics of the Virgo archetype and the Libra archetype. When I was actually meditating and preparing to upload, this particular full moon reading, the word that appeared was practical. And practical to me means bringing higher awareness, the sacred spiritual awareness, into tangible form, making truth, love, or insight and intuition usable in our daily lives. Practical, right? It is about really grounding into conscious action in a way that we can use it versus just philosophizing about it. And so I think this image of the moon just being occupied by other humans and I don't know what, the more they kind of try to manipulate something on the moon's surface or perhaps even beneath it, the more our emotions here on Earth will be affected by that intrusion. So it's super important for us to really, really, really start to focus on regulating our emotions and connecting to the more pure aspect of her. And under this Vedic full moon, which tells us that the full moon is in Virgo, ruled, by the way, by Mercury, the emotional body becomes a vessel for purification and some sort of intelligent discrimination from us. Esoterically, Mercury, by the way, functions as a bridge between the lower and higher mind, illuminating the patterns that kind of bind our emotions and makes it a habit, right? And this is where that word practical is also coming into play. This full moon can evoke it might evoke in you a deeply introspective mood where your feelings are being analyzed, not necessarily us suppressing it, but analyzing it, to understand more of the origin, to understand more of the purpose within our human evolutionary path. And the resonance is one of sort of like a quiet adjustment, an urge really to refine, to organize, and to heal our inner landscape so that it may better serve the soul's purpose. Emotions, again, may feel more contained and more precise during this time period, and it's important for us to dedicate ourselves and be devoted to meaningful work that is of service to humanity, because that's going to help calm our emotions so that we can have clarity and awareness, mind awareness in a way that's healthy. Under the Virgo full moon, again, according to Vedic astrologers ruled by Mercury, for me, the word practical returns to its more familiar space, and it's with the esoteric engagement. Practical means that we are aligning to service, to doing something that is of service. And here, practicality is sort of the art of knowing what to do, knowing how to do it, and knowing why it matters in the larger scheme of things to do what we do, right? To be practical in our manifestation field and to refine ourselves in order to be emotionally steadfast, emotionally grounded, so that our feelings are constructive. That's a beautiful word that matches with that practicality, practical word that I got. So that our feelings are constructive and they're channels that allow us to go into an action that engages us into the path of a purposeful evolution. Now, when we speak of the tropical Western astrologers, again, they're telling us that this full moon is in Libra. And Libra is ruled by Venus, and the emotional field here becomes sort of a mirror of our relationship to truth. And in esoteric astrology, this reflection of the mirror is less about the surface aspect of Libra, which is about harmony, and more about our soul's demand for the right relationship. Venus here is not just seeking pleasure or harmony by agreement, but she's desiring that we go into her higher octave, which is love, where the personality, our personality, your personality, my personality, relinquishes and gives up this self-centered reactions in favor of a more balanced, sacred reciprocity. That's what we're looking for in this relationship. And the emotional resonance can feel a little bit like tensions may arise in relationships, to reveal what is not aligned. And there's often this heightened sensitivity also to what is beautiful, what is fair, and what is relational when there's a full moon in Libra. And under a Libra moon, again ruled by Venus, the word practical takes on sort of this unexpected, refined meaning. And it's not really about the utility of relationships, right? Like, for example, mother is supposed to nurture, father or mother goes out and makes money for support and nurturing, etc. It's not about that kind of utility relationship, but it's more about the practical application of harmony in relationship. And then the esoteric light, practicality, or that word practical, becomes this conscious choice to act in ways that restores balance, that chooses the right conversations, that measures the right responses to an action, and that is graceful in her adjustment, that preserves the alignment of the relationship of the souls between us. And it's really asking us what action is going to skillfully recalibrate this relationship, my relationship with whoever, your relationship with whoever, our human relationship, right? Relationship with humanity. Our emotional resonance here is to be practical in our expression and to get to the root of it, meaning the root of its purity, which is the love. If it's not focused on the love, then it's going to be flowing into a distorted field. And in a lot of ways, this is going to require this full moon in according to tropical astrology in Libra, is going to require that we have discipline in the beauty in which we communicate, making harmony in the lived and an embodied life that we have. Um, yeah, so that's the gist of what's going on. Again, when we're looking at Venus, Venus is looking to harmonize. She is beauty, poetry, psychology, sexuality, creativity, and she rules this full moon in Libra according to Vedic astrology. And Libra is the ruler of harmony, artistic, social, diplomatic, aesthetic influences in a lot of ways. Sorry, that was the tropical influence. The Vedic influence is the mercurial aspect, that which has to do with communication, intelligence. Mercury is about analysis, but it's also wit, and it's very fast. It processes things very fast. It's shrewd and all about information. And with a full moon in Virgo, according to Vedic astrologers, this is about us being very discriminating in our analysis and to be prudent with how we engage even ourselves. Don't be so self-critical, but rather be prudent in your analysis of self, right? So now we're going to go on to the next slide where we're going to talk a little bit about the tarot players influencing both the Vedic full moon in Virgo and the tropical full moon in Libra. I'm going to try my best to move very quickly with this portion of our video. So once again, the Vedic astrologers have this full moon placed in Virgo. And Virgo is ruled by Mercury. And Mercury in Tarot rules three tarot cards, which is the Magician. Can you guys see that? Oh, I'm going to have to cover this so you can see all three. The Magician, the Lovers, and the Hermit tarot card. Whenever we see the Magician coming into play here, this is about creativity. This is about action, power, manifestations, and skills, magic, of course, willpower, directing our will. On its more challenging, it's about blocked creativity, not learning from our past mistakes, and being frustrated really with delays. When we see the lovers, and this is for me always about skill sets. When we see the lovers card over here, this is about making major choices about love, soulmates, temptations, desires, shared values, When it's in a more challenging state, it's about disharmony, trust issues, disunion, detachment can be one of them, etc. When we are interfacing with the Hermit over here, this is about really being in the space of soul searching. That's why I have the word contemplating here, or contemplation. I don't know, can you see it? And let me just push this over a little bit so you can see it. There you go. So yeah, the Hermit is about soul searching. It's about self-reflection. It's about introspection. Again, I said contemplation. It's about your sanctuary, searching deeper truth, etc. When it's in its more challenging aspect, the Hermit is about being reclusive, really, and withdrawing or being antisocial or restrictive, sometimes even paralyzed by the fear, right? Because in its more challenging, it would be lacking light in many ways. So the fear is, the fear of darkness, of not having the light switched on. All right, so that's my presentation there for the Virgo energy, again, ruled by Mercury, and this is the tropical astrologers telling us that the full moon is in Libra, and that's ruled by Venus, and she rules over, let me see if I can put it all in one thing here. She rules over the Empress, the Hierophant, and Justice. So again, this is this energy of Virgo, of Venus. Now, when we see the energy of the Empress over here, we are dealing with fertility or motherhood, sensuality, nurturing, creativity, the feminine power, right? The nature power is all encompassed in, these are just obviously examples in the Empress. And on its more challenging, this is about infertility or lack of confidence or lack of growth. This overbearing tendency can be reflected in the Empress as well. When we're looking at the Hierophant, this is about traditional institutions. So collectively, I'm expecting something happening here with the government. So we'll see. But anyway, I digress. But this is about traditional values, conventional values, conformity. It can be about marriage, commitment, obviously religion, because this was traditionally the Pope card, etc. On its more challenging side, this is about challenging the government, challenging tradition. This is about unconventional lifestyles or unconventional relationships. This is about nonconformity on its more challenging aspect to the Hierophant, meaning the Hierophant in its purest state. So, and then lastly, we have here the Justice card. And justice is about, for me, karmic justice. It's about consequences or legal disputes. It is about law, but it's about truth with a capital T, you know? And it's about making a decision in order to maintain law and order. So maybe something will come here with a ceasefire in what area. Every time I put something up with that area of that we're having with WAR, I get shadow banned. There are certain topics that immediately shadow banned my videos. If you haven't seen the last one on the WAR, actually it's up on my video feed, so look for it. It's the video right before this one. Anyway, going back to justice, on its more challenging side, obviously injustice comes to mind, retribution, dishonesty, corruption, lack of accountability, unfairness, etc. is the more challenging aspect of the of justice. All right, so those are my cards. I will be doing a reading and I'll be pulling one card from this. So we have three cards here and under Libra, and we have another three under the Virgo. So I'm going to be pulling, when I do the readings, I'm going to be gravitating toward one or the other, depending on what I'm sensing at the moment that I do the reading. All right, so let's go on to the next slide and do your full moon in, according to Vedic astrologers, Virgo, according to tropical astrologers, Libra, full moon reading, using, of course, tarot and the oracles. So just a quick recap. We are in a full moon in Virgo according to Vedic astrologers and in Libra according to Western astrologers. So we're fluctuating between these two axis points emotionally. Virgo is, of course, ruled by Venus and Mercury. The other way around. Mercury rules Venus and Mercury rules Virgo and Venus rules Libra. We just went through the cards. I have pre-shuffled everything. I am using the craft cards. I am also using, as an oracle deck, the Guides of the Hidden Realms. And I'm going to use a different sort of card deck. It's called the Star Codes Astro, just for identification purposes only. And we're going to begin with Libra and work our way around to Virgo, okay? For first one up is obviously Libra. So let's see what card you have. And you have it's the Nine of Cups. And so for Virgos, when you have this energy of the Nine of Cups, it's really about you. And where's my Lovers card? Because I instinctively felt that Lovers. It's really about you making choices. And what choices are you making? Well, right now you feel like you're full, like there's nothing that you need to choose. And you're certainly going to start being very picky about what it is that you decide on, right? This is like your stand, and these are all of your emotions, all of your connections with other people, all of your overflow. This is known as a merchant card in many ways because they're not just going to start displaying things that they don't feel connected to. And so that's where you're at with this full moon. You're going to be very discerning about who you share your emotions with. And this engagement in particular is speaking about the past and potentially even family. So do make the loving choice. This is the guidance that you're getting. Make the loving choice for yourself. Don't stick with tradition just because that's what you've been told you must do, but rather stick with something or choose something that nurtures your soul. Let's see what your guidance is. Focus on the brilliance. Focus attention, prioritize preservation. Beautiful. And you see that light language kind of going right through that eye, through what you see, right? So allow yourself to really be trusting your intuition and your own inner brilliance in making these choices. And yeah, be discerning right now. Be picky as to who you engage with. Nice. The next card that we have is going to be Scorpio. The next astrology here. Let's see. So those of you, again, I am focusing on the moon energy, but you can look at the sun or your ascendant and create your story from that, right? So Scorpio, let's see what your card is. You've got the star, Scorpio. So this is about you not losing hope, not losing hope for yourself, not losing hope for humanity, not losing hope for all of us. And I think I am gravitating here towards the magician because part of the reason why you're not losing hope here is because you very much understand your inner elements. You very much understand that humanity is what creates the magic that connects us all. So hold on to that hope, hold on to that spiritual engagement, and allow the maiden, I forgot to cover this because YouTube, but allow the maiden to really bless you with her knowledge, right? With her spiritual knowledge moving forward. Just gonna move this over here so we can you believe this? Not only do they block me, but this is considered etc. You know what it is. Okay, let's see what your guidance is. Love and partnership, collaboration, intimacy, and then over here it says power dynamics. Allow the love to flow in. Allow this blessing to come from above, right? Don't lose hope in actually in the pursuit of a relationship. Allow the blessings to come. Magic is in your path. Remain skillful at what you do, but don't lose hope that the ethereal or the divine can also collaborate with you in creating this intimate union that perhaps you are actually seeking. All right, the next card is Sagittarius, Sun, Moon, or Rising. Let's see what your card is. And you've got the World. I'm loving all these cards because when I see these beautiful engagements and these beautiful positive cards, I feel very positive of everything collectively, what's going on here. So for me, this World, and I'm gravitating here towards the Empress energy, the world very much is expanding for you. It's growing for you with this energy of, remember what I said about the Empress. She is this power of growth. You are entering into a new phase, but before you do, again, I have to cover that. Before you do, understand that you are at a completion point here in your life. Oh, I can't hold that forever. So we will use the other card to cover it. It's ridiculous. Meanwhile, if you go to some art, like Sotheby's, for example, they had like a whole art collection that was just all NUDITY, right? So it was, and they got to showcase everything. And I've played around and said, rather than entertainment, can I put this as artwork? Because for me, this is artwork as well. So let's see what your guidance is for Scorpio energy. Ripe, juicy, and ready, and poised for success and potential waiting to be realized. Yep, that's the energy of the world, this growth, this expansion, this engagement with all that is out there manifesting for you. It's really expanding. And yeah, you definitely are ready. So let's see what happens with this full moon. But you're definitely engaging this beautiful space of this Libran energy with communication that you've been having even with yourself about wanting to change something in your life or wanting to change or move into another trajectory. Capricorn, Sun, Moon, or Rising. Let's see what you have. You've got this Four of Cups, and you are being offered, gravitating here towards choices. You're being offered, or being made offers that you just don't like, that you're not happy with, right? These choices that you think are not really suited for you. And all I can tell you is that you're not paying attention to the other options that you have. You have to be really grounded sometimes to make the choices that are loving for yourself. And so you're going to be interfacing with that for this full moon. Let's see what your guidance is telling you. Listen to the ancestors. Inherited patterns, traditions, integrated wisdom versus knowledge. perfect, because I think this is a pattern that you need to sort of break, of not really looking at the real choices that you have, but dreaming of choices and then having it manifest and then not liking those options. So for you, listen to your inner guidance and see where it is from the ancestral line that this has been inherited from, and then integrate only that part of it that's wisdom, right? Don't go by this knowledge, but land in wisdom, which means connect to the earth plane more for this full moon. Next, we have Aquarius, sun, moon, or rising. Let's see what your guidance is. And you've got the Hermit, and the Hermit happens to be one of the cards that we have here for our engagement, which is in this space of the Virgo constellation. So this is very much about you grounding, right? And I'm going to pull the Empress here for you. You grounding with the earth and being really connected, but not just to recalibrate or sort of calm the nervous system, but really to gather the strength to continue your spiritual journey, right? The spiritual journey that is being guided by the divine feminine. So do that grounding work, and your guidance is all eyes are open, clarity, perception, revelation, inspired vision. The more that you sort of ground with earth and continue your journey, the more there will be revelations and clarity along this path of yours. Nice. Next, we have Pisces energy. Sun, moon, or rising. Let's see what your guidance is. And Pisces, you've got the Seven of Wands, so you're feeling a little bit defensive. You're feeling a little bit sensitive right now emotionally with what's going on. Remember that Virgo is actually the opposite axis point to the Piscean energy. So you might be a little bit taken off kilter here with your energies. For me, I feel like I'm gravitating towards the Hermit here a little bit, right? So sometimes where we're in the opposite axis, we want to utilize the opposite positive qualities, qualities that can assist us in calming our environment or in calming our mind. And for you, that's this energy of contemplation, of meditation, of calming the mind so that you're not feeling this kind of agitation inside. And then your guidance is Zenith at the Park. And it says here, victory, achievement, tangible abundance. There's that word that we got, right? Purpose, tangible abundance. What can we do when we are in solitude, when we are retreating a little bit in order to gather the light source or the wisdom from within, right? Where can we be practical? So by this, I mean, are you doing daily meditations? Are you getting up in the morning in prayer? Are you moving your body in prayer? Right? What is tangible here? Because the more tangible you make the spiritual engagement, and careful with what you say to people, the less this will activate of feeling defensive or having to defend yourself, right? Beautiful. Next, we have Aries, sun, moon, or rising. See what your guidance is. You've got the Chariot, Aries, so there's already this energy of war going on around the world. There's this energy of moving really fast. I'm gravitating here towards justice because we need this balance point, right? There's this balance point for Aries that's being asked to be activated within you. Balance everything that's going on in your life, right? The Chariot actually moves really fast once we have a goal set in mind. Once you have that goal set in mind, you have to start balancing and acting with honor, right? This is why I put that word honor. And honor, when you behave with honor, when you act with honor, everything actually goes into a state of equilibrium. So keep that in mind when you're moving forward from now until the new moon coming up. What is holy? What is true? Appreciation, witnessing the unmerited gift of grace. Beautiful, because again, behaving with honor means asking yourself what is true, what is holy, right? And then you charge forward to achieve your goals or whatever it is that you're setting your intentions for. Taurus, sun, moon, or rising. Let's see what your card says. Okay, you're moving to smoother waters. You're not wanting to engage with drama. You are actually avoiding the drama. You're still carrying the heaviness in thought, but yes, the guidance is to move away from drama. That is a choice that you have to make. Make the loving choice for yourself in this time period or during this time period. And your guidance is rise to the occasion. I love this guidance for you. Capability, strength, authenticity, free will, right? So yeah, sometimes we want to fight, sometimes we want to stay and really use these swords, right? And defend ourselves. But for this particular full moon, you're being asked to rise to the occasion, make the loving choice, and move away from the drama, move away from what makes it feel heavy for you on the mental plane. That's a guidance that was very direct. All right. Now we're moving into Gemini areas. Sun, moon, or rising. Did I pick two cards? No. Gemini, sun, moon, or rising. What's your guidance here? All right. So you're feeling heavy burdens on work or something that you're doing. You're feeling this heaviness, this burden, right? It feels a little bit too much. I'm trying to get this card because I immediately was drawn to energetically to the Hierophant, and it was a visual drawn. I was visually drawn because of these. You see these 10 of Wands, and it just reminded me of the Wands energy of the Hierophant in this depiction. So yeah, Gemini, you are at a moment where you're just exhausted, and I'm inviting you to stop. You want to gain this higher knowledge, create this institution, create this building for yourself, right? Your world. But sometimes we just have to put it down if it feels too burdensome and heavy. We're not looking at the higher aspect. We're not looking at the purpose, the higher purpose. Is this for love? Is this to be of service, right? This is this energy of the Virgo energy. Are you doing all this work for its highest frequency, or are you doing it for the glory of it, for the title of it, for the impression of it? This is something that you're going to have to juggle and decide, right? The more you do it to be of service to others, the less burdened you will feel. And your guidance is serenity out of exile. Exhale, surrender, radical acceptance. This is the exact same thing that I was picking up here. It's time to just, drop that down, surrender, be in a state where you're still and really assess what is the higher purpose here. Because if it's not to bring you this level of serenity and peace, then I would suggest to pivot or do something else. And let's see, the next card we have is Cancer, Sun, Moon, or Rising. Let's see what you've got. You're also walking away from something that you've been working at or working on. It's something that you've emotionally invested in, but it's a choice that you're making, right? Where's my, oh, did I screw this up? Yeah, I messed up. Here it is. It's a choice that you're making, and justice actually belongs on this pile. I won't get confused. So the choice that you're making is one that's going to perhaps leave you. I want you to really consider not necessarily walking away from things that you have built up and had emotional connections to. Again, people, to regulate your emotions, if you have to, take a break, right? Because I do feel that there's this loving, and walking away from something that you've built might lead you toward more strife, right? Whenever we see mountains in the card, it's potentially more challenges up ahead, right? So I want you to think about it. Just pause a little bit, right? We don't have to do everything right away, guys. We can slow down if we need to. There is no urgency in this world. We can slow down and take time to nurture yourself. Your guidance is the true source of power. Beautiful. And this one says on here, divine will, integrity, power versus force. Perfect. You know, for you, choose this true source of power, right? Because part of this is exhaustion of not wanting to deal with it anymore. So use your inner light flame, right? You've even got this beautiful dragon up top here. Use the inner light flame to ground yourself into the earth before you just walk away from something that you've built up emotionally, and make the loving choice for yourself later, because this is about your leadership role here, and it almost feels like you're exhausted and you don't want to do it. But I say, before you just completely walk away, pause a little and then think about the choices that you want to make. Cancer, sun, moon, or rising. Next we have Leo, sun, moon, or rising. And you've got this 10 of Swords. Not exactly the best cards to have, but also a reminder for you not to betray yourself, right? So what aspect of you here, and this is the Justice card is calling me because it's asking for some sort of balance. This is an exaggeration. This is sometimes can be gossip, right? This is an exaggeration where your own words are coming up against you, and it's affecting you. So be gentle with yourself. Be in the state of equilibrium. Act with honor, and don't betray yourself and your own inner power here. And your guidance is the sovereignty of magic, miracles, synchronicities, spiritual forces. Yeah, I mean, the Leo, use all of that, right? Use all of that in order to avoid these pitfalls, in order to avoid this energy of self-sabotage. Next, we have Virgo. This is your moon, Virgo. Let's see what you've got. And you've got this three. So just collectively, I'm seeing that towards the end of the month, it might be a challenge for us collectively. But Virgo, you've got this Three of Swords. And whenever we see the Three of Swords, there's a pain that you're feeling inside that you're not taking care of, that you're not, I'm drawn here to the Hermit, that you're not addressing, that you're not that you're avoiding, and it has to do with communication. There's been communication in the past that has pierced your heart, but you also have to take responsibility on how that went down. So there's a lot of introspection, contemplation, inner work that has to be done in order to release your heart and allow it to shine through. So there's a lot of inner work to be done during this time period. Epiphanies sing at dawn, aha moments, awakening, new directions, potential. I'm getting guided to you getting up at dawn if you can, right? And in this energy of the Hermit, being in the dark and yet showing the light, being in that in-between moment and showing your own light, and you will be shown what you need to do in order to address this pain that you feel in your heart. Lovely. All right, folks, that's it for today. Again, remember that we are swinging between these two axis points emotionally. So heed the guidance of both the Mercury and the Venus. and communicate with love during this time period. It's really important in order for us not to lose our balance, right? Not to lose our balance. Beautiful. All right, guys, stay safe, be brave, and until next time, bye.